Hi, my name is Ashton, and the vlog that you are about to watch, I recorded back in July of 2024 as part of me trying to document a very special event that I do every year. She explains it better than I do, but the gist of it is that 2 days before my birthday, I will check myself into a private Airbnb, shut off my phone, and spend a couple of days in reflection. I will turn the mic over to her and let her explain the thought process behind why I started these events, what I do, the philosophy behind it, how it has benefited me, and where I see it going in the future. Even though I do this on my birthday, I don't think that these need to necessarily be limited to your birthday. I think that it is a fantastic idea for any person to just spend 2 days alone in their own thoughts and getting to know themselves as a person at a bare minimum. We are so distracted all the time by social media, by the influence of other people, and so many of these thoughts will constantly just kind of hit us and bombard us and make it so we kind of lose track of who we are. So even though I only do this as a once a year practice, I have found it extremely beneficial to just kind of tell myself that no matter what, this is a time for me, and I'm hoping that I can give you guys some inspiration as well. All right, and I'm tossing the mic back to her now. Bye. I am currently on my 5th annual retreat that I do every year from the 14th to 16th of July. I started this retreat because I had a tendency to feel very sad when it came to my birthday. And it was 2020, and I didn't think that I would be able to really do much of anything that year. Like everybody else, I was doing a lot of introspection and listening to podcasts, and I kept hearing the idea over and over again of a solo retreat. I decided that I would book an Airbnb, and during that time, I would read all of my past journal entries, or at least as much as I could, to kind of get a sense of who I was and think about who I wanted to be. There's this wonderful woman named Debbie Millman who, in an interview with Tim Ferriss, shared about how when she was in her 20s or 30s, I can't remember which, she looked back at all of these drawings that she had done as a child, and she realized that as a child, she always knew what she wanted to focus on in life, which was logo and brand designing. She had this idea that if she would have been more intentional and thought more about what she wanted as a child, that she could have gotten to where she was going in life that much quicker. So, when she was teaching in class, she encouraged her students to write down where they wanted their life to go, what they wanted their life to look like in a day 10 years in the future. She told them to not hold back and to be as detailed as possible. Of the people who came up to her, they were all shocked that what they wrote down happened to come true. And the only regret was that they hadn't written more. I loved that idea. And so I decided to write down a day in the life of July 16th, 2030. I set that aside, these goals, this day in the life for 2030, and I did not look at it again until 2021 when I booked my second retreat. That year, I did the same thing. I looked at my journal entries. I looked at where I wanted to go, what I was doing. I was unemployed at the time, kind of trying to figure out where I wanted to live and what I wanted to do next with my life. And so I looked at my goals for 2030, and they looked like a pipe dream. But still, I was determined to do this again in 2022. In 2022, I looked at the goals and they seemed like a pipe dream. In 2023, I had recently been fired from my job and I was so frustrated. I knew at this point what those goals were going to look like for 2030. At that time, I was working on a 30-day challenge to get myself prepared to write a novel. And my goals for 2030, I want to have 3 books published, if I'm remembering correctly. And I looked at what I was doing, how motivated I was for writing for the first time in ages. And I thought about how I was as a child, how I have always been a writer, and how it made me mad that this was the first time that I was really seriously looking at writing a manuscript. So I took that inspiration that was brewing. I looked at my goals for 2030 and I said, enough is enough. I am going to set my intentions to make 2030 a reality for me. So it worked. Well, it's working. I wrote that manuscript. Beta readers have looked at it, and it is currently in the hands of somebody in the industry. Not only that, but this chapbook idea that I had had for a while of these 31 tales for Halloween that I had written back in 2021, I told myself that because I had not done anything with it, even though I had promised myself over and over again, that I was going to fulfill that promise. So I started a YouTube channel, and every day for the month of October, I posted one of my original stories, getting something other than poetry out into the world for the very first time and under my name. My friends saw what I was doing with this, and my friend Andrew, he asked if I would be interested in running a supernatural podcast with him. I said yes, unsure of what that would look like, if it would even be fun. I got my friend Sean on board, and now we have been running this since November of 2023, and we are still going with our twice a month episodes. My friend Kayla, she was encouraged by the fact that I had been writing short stories, and she came up with this brilliant idea to take Taylor Swift's songs and turn them into horror stories. I asked her if I could join in, and now together, every other month, one of us posts a video and the other person interviews that person. I am now also a part of a century-old writing group. I have an idea for what I'm working on for my second novel. I have 2 chapbooks that I'm hoping to release this year. And my life is just completely and totally filled with creative endeavors, which just makes my heart feel so full. And it is like every single day I am aligned with a person that I know and have always known since I was a small child that I was supposed to be. See, I love storytelling, and I won my first competition in 1st grade, and I was published by 3rd grade. I've been published a few times in poetry, but there was just something that kept telling me, no, it's impractical, don't do it. Screw all that. So, what I do each year for 5 years in a row now, where I shut off my phone once I check in, and I do not turn it on until I wake up on the 16th, I can honestly say has been one of the biggest game changers in my life. I have so many goals and I have so many big ideas on what I want 2030 to look like, and I can officially say that I think that they are going to come true. I have no doubt in my mind that these big goals can be accomplished, and I am so glad that I did not hold back. To further myself and make sure that I do what I want to do, I have 4 notebooks. This first notebook is my daily gratitude practice. Each day, I start off with a quote that is currently motivating me. I write down 3 amazing things from yesterday. I write down 3 things that I am thankful for the day. And I write a list of things that I would like to manifest for that day. Now, there are a bunch of studies that have been done about how the practice of daily gratitude helps you feel more alive within yourself, and it really kind of makes you appreciate and pay attention to the things that are good in your life. Same with the 3 amazing things from yesterday. Even if I had a terrible day, I challenge myself to find the good in it. Sometimes they're silly, like I had a good breakfast. Other times, it's that I got to go out with my friends to hibachi. And sometimes it's really big ones, like I'm working with a publicist. So I like to do that. The second notebook is something that I started up last year. Last year, I was kind of being a little bit cheeky when I told myself that, I have so much to do this year, or I have so much to do this month, I bet I could list 30 things. Well, then I listed 35 things. Figured I might as well just make it out to an even 40. And then I thought, well, if I can do 40, why not 50? Now, obviously, 50 goals for a single month is a little bit absurd, but each day I go through and I look at my goals. So this is January, where I write down 50 goals for the month, and I check it off every single day. I look at this notebook and I say, okay, what did I do yesterday to work towards my 50 goals? How much further do I have to go to complete these 50 goals? And the more intentional I am about it, the more that I see that I get done. And even if I only get 20 of those tasks done, I got 20 tasks done that I wanted to get done that month. And I really believe in the power of mindfulness, and that all things are possible so long as you give it your attention. And because I was so successful with practice of 50 goals a month, when I started off this year, 2024, I thought, well, 50 times 12, that's 600. Why don't I come up with 600 goals for this year, where I write out at least 50 per month on my list and I track it. Now, some of these goals are overarching, but yeah, I have it right here. These are my 2024 goals, and there are several pages of this. I think I'm at 342 of them, which is mind-boggling to me. What's even more mind-boggling to me is that through tracking my progress every single month, through here every single day as much as possible, that I'm accomplishing them. So by the halfway point of this year, July 2nd, I had already either worked towards or accomplished 90 goals. Now, some of you could say that I am behind, which is a fair point, but some of these goals were huge, and other things are happening that weren't even goals that I'm excited for. So I would say that just doing 90 makes me feel good to have done, and I'm going to continue to do this. And on my retreat this year, one of my big goals is to look at what else I want to get done out of the 600, and to figure out how to best go about giving me the chance to finish all of them in the best way possible. Last notebook that I look at on a daily basis is this big red one right here. This is my journal, or my current journal page for my morning pages. Morning pages are this fantastic way of getting in touch with yourself. It's, depending on your handwriting, 2 to 3 pages where you just write down whatever it is that comes to your mind. This idea is from The Artist's Way, and I have been doing this practice since 2019 or 2020, and the amount of insight that I have gained into myself has been just beyond what I could imagine. It has helped me process trauma. It has helped me process what is happening in my life. I really like Myers-Briggs personality type, and as a ENTJ, one of my top function is extroverted thinking. And so me writing down my thoughts freestyle, it gives me more insight into my brain than just thinking about things. Like, my brain is just kind of this jumbled mess, but once it's down here, everything starts to come together and I get a lot of peace. So for the rest of this video, I'm just going to have little snippets of me doing my day while I'm on this retreat, and I am very appreciative of you watching to this point if you have, and I would highly encourage you, whether it is around your birthday or just whenever, to take some days to yourself where you turn off your phone and you sit with yourself and get real with who you want to be, where you want to go, and start living a more purposeful life. Good morning. It is day 2 of my birthday retreat, and I really want to just focus on the goals that I still have left for the year and see how I can best optimize it. Do you think anybody's home? Hello? Anybody home? No? Okay. The thing about doing these retreats is that it gives me great insight into who I was throughout the year that brought me to this point. Last year was a really huge year for me, where I put my foot down about taking my writing seriously. I didn't know if that promise was going to stand, but I told myself that it would, and the amount that I've been able to accomplish this past year because I made a stance on my retreat was huge.